In my last video, someone commented, why did Gautama challenge the return of serve when it was clearly well inside the line? And it's a really good question, because when you watch professional badminton, this is so common to see. The obvious purpose of using Hawkeye is to try and hope the line judge was wrong, but players will challenge even when you can tell that they know it will be unsuccessful, and not change the outcome. Sometimes in doubles, it's quite funny to see when one of the players challenges the call and their teammate knows they are so wrong. Just a quick reminder before we get started to please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you. First, let's talk about how challenges work in badminton. So for every game, a player or pair gets 2 unsuccessful challenges. So this means in one game, so first to 21 points or more if the game is longer, you can challenge a line call and get it wrong twice. At that point, you are out of challenges, and you have to go with what the line judge says. However, if you challenge a call and get it right, you keep the challenge and you can use it again. For example, if a line judge calls a shot out, and you challenge it and it turns out the shuttle was in, you still have 2 challenges left for the rest of the game. After each game, the amount of challenges you have resets back to 2. Therefore, if you use up all 2 or still have 2 left, it doesn't matter for the next game. Also, when you challenge a call, it can take around 30 seconds or sometimes more for the decision to be made and the players to return back to court. This is important to know in the tactics players use to challenge calls. One of the most obvious reasons players will challenge when they know they're in the wrong is just to take that break. In badminton, you can't just walk off the court and take a break whenever you like. Therefore, using Hawkeye is a great opportunity to do so. You know, it's really obvious when there's a big lift to the back line and the player is stood right next to it watching it come down and still challenges it when it's not even close. As a player, these are the easiest calls to get right, so when they are wrong by a large margin, you know they didn't actually think challenging it would work. They then usually just walk straight off to get as much time as possible off the court and don't even really look at the screen because they know what the outcome will be. Sometimes in badminton, walking off the court, toweling down, having a drink, and getting some recovery time can really affect a game. Badminton is such a momentum sport. It's so easy to get 3, 4, or 5 points in a row. So if a player can interrupt that fast momentum that their opponent might have, they're going to try to do that. For example, if you have a good lead in a game and your opponent is starting to come back, you'd want to break that rhythm that they're in. It also gives you a break to just get your cardio back and just have a chat with yourself or your partner about how the game's going and what you might do next. Some players even try to chat with their coaches, and the umpire usually tells them that they're not allowed to do this. There's no real consequence either. Yes, they lose a challenge, but if it's late in the game and they still have them left, it's only going to get reset in the next game anyway. I think this is probably the most common reason why players do this in badminton. I believe the other reason is just an emotional challenge. I think that's what Gautama was looking for in this clip. I think because the shot came off so well and he couldn't even get a racket to it, he's thinking that it had to be wide. And then when he saw it was in, I think he's just showing frustration about the shot and how the game was going overall because they were losing as well. When Gautama goes off, you can see he gets to sit down, grab a drink, and isn't in any rush to come back on court. Similarly with Watanabe, he had a clear view of the shuttle landing well on the line, yet he still called for a challenge. Even the commentators pointed out that it seemed like an emotional challenge, as the shot looked clearly in. However, they must think that challenging the call and getting it wrong is worth it, so that they can take that extra time to get their head back in the right place and focus on the next rally. I think the last reason is just trying to be hopeful, and even though they might be 95% sure the line judge was correct, there might be a slim chance that a tiny part of the shuttle caught the line or just landed out. I guess when you are losing a game or it's really tight, a really close successful challenge could really flip the momentum. Sometimes when a smash is played, for example, the shuttle was travelling so fast, you might as well give it a go just in case. In badminton, the angle you have of the shot might make it appear more in or out than it actually was. With, like I said, not really any downside of just throwing it out there either. And if it's unsuccessful, you still get a short break to recover anyway. It's just something that's part of the game in professional badminton, and one of the many tactics players use now and again. I thought it was just quite a cool topic to bring up since there was a comment in my last video, and it's something that I've seen quite a few times in professional badminton. You see a shot land way in and you're like, why would they even challenge that for? Anyway, like I mentioned before, if you could please subscribe to the channel, that would be awesome. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.